Hey guys, so if you live in New York State, then you're probably familiar with the Living Environment Regent that you are going to have to take either in your 8th grade or ninth grade year. Uh, it's a dumb test. Let me just start off by saying that it really doesn't encompass anything that you would have supposed to have been learning throughout the entire year. Human body systems, basically nothing on that on my test. Um, there was also a lot missing from um, just every subject except ecology. They just like blew the hell out of ecology. And even then, all you really needed to know was like relationships between animals and anyway, so ecology is a thing that you really need to know. Everything else is minor. Most of the short answers are based off ecology, and short answers are worth the most on the test. A lot of even a lot of the multiple choices were on ecology. There were a few on, uh, just like, there was one on a body system. That's what I remember. It was really dumb this year. Anyway, or I guess it would be last year if you're watching this in the future. But the thing that you really have to study is ecology. So that's the way that animals interact with each other in like food chains and stuff. Um, you also should research or study the human impact. That's a really big one. It's like, well, if you raise the temperature of the water by like 5 degrees, what's gonna happen? That's like given to you in the freaking graph, so you have to just state the obvious. It's just a dumb test. Other stuff that you might also want to study, really basically human body systems, just because there was like a multiple choice on this year's test and a short answer on the placenta. They're gonna ask for you to have background in this stuff for some of the short responses. I doubt that you really need to know more, like, you don't really have to know what the liver does, or you don't really have to know what the individual functions are, or what organs things go to. You just need to know um, basically what the system does, and if you feel that it's necessary, you could look into the organs. Genetics is kind of important. It's like, they don't really go into specifics, like you don't have to make a Punnett square, or they don't have any of the what are they called, like the family tree, the ancestry tree things. They didn't have many of those in my exam. They did have one thing just basically talking about gel electrophoresis, which is where they put electricity through like gel and put your genes in it, and it separates it out. But all they asked is what did they do to separate it, which is that they added electricity. So it was kind of dumb. Um, and then for part C or D, I forget which one, you have to talk about the labs that you did, or you have to have information from the specific labs that you did. So either your teacher gave you a handout basically summarizing that, but don't panic if they didn't. They're really easy to find online. There are answers everywhere online. And I mean, look at last year's Regents, or this year's Regents, because I'm recording this in 2017. Because that's going to have similar labs to the one that you did this year. And I say similar because they might change it, but usually they don't have enough money or willpower to change the curriculum. Alright, so first off, get a good night's sleep, eat a good meal, and bring a snack. The first two are kind of a given, based off the fact you should probably do that for every test, but bringing a snack is really important for this test, because this test is 85 questions. I think around 40 of them are multiple choice, and another 35 are short responses, and those short responses are killer. They take a really long time, and you're going to be tired as shit. So what I recommend doing is, now don't hold me accountable if you get in trouble, but what I did is I snuck in a little bit of chocolate, and I had a boost of energy, and that helps me complete my exam. Or you could bring in like a Jolly Rancher or something, I don't know. some kind of candy, something that isn't obvious, because you're not allowed to eat during the test. But I did, and nothing bad happened. So, and I got a boost of energy, and I did well on my exam. So, I'd recommend bringing a snack. If you're sure that you don't want to get in trouble or you don't even want to risk it at all, I'd recommend just eating like something with, based off my knowledge of the human body, bring something that's like not just gonna give you a short burst of energy like carbohydrates, but something that's gonna give you like energy throughout the day. A bowl of cereal is usually good. Eat bowl of cereal. Something with sustenance, like, I don't know, maybe a pancake or something, just something big. So that way, when you're halfway through your exam and you're feeling kind of tired, at least you had that breakfast with you to kind of give you another boost of energy. Or what you can do is you could just have, I wouldn't recommend this, but you could just have an energy drink or chocolate before your exam. And that way you have a boost of energy for like 2 hours, which is probably the time that you're going to finish in. The third hour is mainly for checking over your work. And after that amount of time, after 2 hours, you're not really going to have to check your work as much as you would think, just because you're spending quite a long time on each question if you take 2 hours. So, if you take under an hour and a half, I definitely recommend going over the questions. And it's always good to do it, even if you do 2 hours, just because you might have gotten tired. But, yeah, it's good to bring a snack. It's good to go over your answers, but it's probably not going to be necessary for most people. Second thing is do 1 or 2 practice tests a couple days before. If you're watching this the night before, don't worry. You don't really have to do this bit. This is just mainly for mental state. Like if you want to feel really prepared going in, then I'd recommend doing this. I did one the day before, and I found that I was getting super tired by the end of it, and the end of it is usually the hardest bit. Part C and Part D, which are both written answer, they're usually the harder bits for people because there's a lot of reading involved and a lot of writing. So I'd recommend just knowing yourself. And my strategy was I'd do Part A first, then I'd go to Part C. I'd look over my Part A because that's all multiple choice, and you can make a lot of mistakes on that because each of them is worth like a point. Each question's worth about a point or even more. So it's good to go over those when they're fresh in your mind. And then go to Part B, which is a mix between multiple choice. Oh no, Part B is it's based off of written. You have to do multiple choice, and that's not too hard, for me at least. And then Part D, I think, is based off your labs. There's only a couple questions that's on there. So main 2 bits are A and C, and then B and D. So I knew going in that that's what I was going to do. And that would be good if you can make your own strategy. Yeah, know what you are as a test taker. If you get tired, if you start to wander, your eyes wander, you start to think about different things, you just need to know what you have to do to get 100 for your own test. And that can only be done by taking practice tests. That is not necessary. That being said, like, you can get away with not doing practice tests and just like literally glancing over your notes the night before. But I'd highly recommend taking 1 practice test and looking at your notes. Looking at all your notes can be like a daunting thing, but all you really need to know is the general idea. And I think you'll be fine. It's really hard to fail this test. Like, it's graded out of 85, and the average grade is around an 80. So you really should be getting high to mid 70s if you didn't really study, and if you did study, upper 80s to lower 90s, and if you're God, then you'll get 100. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend doing. Know what you are. Go into school knowing that you will pass, because this exam is not hard, and I believe in you. You're gonna do great. So, take it from one student to another. This test is really not that bad, and you have to keep on reminding yourself that, just so you don't freak out the night before, or freak out going in. Um, One thing that happened to me was I deviated from my plan, and I freaked out because a lot of kids were flipping their pages really fast. And because they were doing part A first, which is you kind of do it pretty quickly because it's all multiple choice. And so I was getting a little bit stressed out just because I was going really slowly through the short answers, and everyone else was already completing like 40 questions, and I had done maybe like 15 of the short answer. So, um, either don't look at other kids or don't listen for papers, or just like stay in your own zone, or just do the test like everyone else usually does. Just go straight through it. Circle the questions you don't know, or whatever your strategy is. That's you. That's on you. So anyway, go into school knowing that you will pass, because you're gonna do great. And this test is dumb, and our school system's dumb. So at least you can fall back on that if you don't do super well. Yeah. And anyway, good luck to all of you. This this is the first video that I'm making on Regents and state tests. So if you like this video, then thumbs it up, please. If you don't like this video, or you get a bad grade after watching this video, then please tell me, so I can feel bad about myself and this video. So anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and another video on the Geometry Regents is coming out soon, as well as the Algebra Regents and the Earth Science Regents.